We're watching a very high-class player.
This is when you know AB de Villiers is at his best.
Welcome to 360 Live. It's a beautiful Saturday morning where I'm at, afternoon for some of you, but good day nonetheless. It's great to have you all on here. And welcome to 360 Live. It's a Saturday morning, which is a bit odd or weird. I normally do these on Fridays, but I had a very full Friday yesterday with a lot of activities from concerts, kiddies concerts. It's year-end stuff, so it's just all happening, and kiddies parties. Running after the kids. What a joy, what a privilege. I can't believe actually this year has come to an end. What is it now? 25 November. We're almost into December, and this year's just flown by. And I actually have a bit of a hangover from World Cup cricket. I was flicking through the channels this week, and I wonder if you guys were doing the same. Obviously, I think the Australians might have gone through the channels looking at the highlights, but the rest of us looking for more cricket, and there was just nothing on our television screens. Luckily, a T20 series sort of picked me up again, where India and Australia clashed very soon after the World Cup, I must say. I feel for the players, but it did look like two young teams clashing there, and India coming out on top with a fantastic chase. Josh Inglis putting up his hand there, possibly for an IPL deal. The timing could not have been better, getting 100 in that first innings for Australia. But the Indian team, and it just shows you the depth that India cricket have at the moment. Absolutely phenomenal. A great chase. Any chase over 200 in a T20 game is not easy. So well done, Team India. One up. And then tomorrow is the second T20 there between India and Australia. At least a little bit of something to hold on to after the high of the World Cup. Not so high for some of us, like the South Africans. I know the Indian fans would be very disappointed not winning that final. But there was lots of highlights, lots of good things to reminisce about, and so many good players that put up their hands. All right, let's move into the news headlines then. The IPL 2024 auction scheduled for December 19 in Dubai. I will also be on a live stream, so keep an eye out for that. It's very, very exciting. I know all the teams have been planning for literally since the last IPL. They had their scouts out, looking at new players, new talent, trying to balance their squads. It's become a very big tournament, and you can't just wing it anymore these days. It's a huge business, and this IPL auction will be very exciting. The IPL has set a November 26th deadline for the franchises to announce their retention lists. The player auction for 2024 season will take place in Dubai on December 19. I already said that, but 26 November, and that is tomorrow. Then you cannot, your retention list needs to be out. I think all the trades need to be done as well. And talking about trades, there have been some really exciting things happening. Firstly, Ben Stokes opting out of the upcoming 2024 IPL. He says he wants to manage his workload and fitness. That's a big blow for Chennai Super Kings. Even though I say it's a big blow, he didn't play a lot last year. And you could see he was a little bit offish with his body and his physical health, and he's opting out. I think it's a big move from him. It shows how important his career is for him. He still wants to play for a few years, and if obviously felt if he pushed it into this IPL, he might just lose out on more cricket in the future. The all-rounders out then, and it is a pretty big blow. And yeah, as you see at the bottom there, the CSK franchise put out that statement, and they support Ben Stokes in his decision. It's a big one, but it's happened nonetheless. Then Hardik Pandya set to move back to Mumbai Indians in an all-cash trade. Little bit of controversy here, as that purse was overloaded, if I can say that. What's the word I'm looking for? Maybe a little bit dodgy. I don't know. There are very, very strict and clear rules set out in the IPL. This one was a little bit under the table. I'm not sure exactly what happened there, but it looks like he's heading back to Mumbai Indians. And I don't know if it's going to cause them a bit of a headache. Who's going to be captain? I mean, Rohit is there. We know he's captain. He loves leading from the front. Will he step down perhaps in the IPL, let Hardik captain, because he's got the big weight of Team India and captaining there? And just quickly, it was an undisclosed fee, with part of it going to Pandya directly, as reported by various sources. So don't take my word for it, but that's the reports that are out there. I've been reading posts on X. I'm seeing some statements from some journalists as well. So let's see how that plays out. But that is a big move, and it's pretty exciting. ABD, what's your opinion on the Hardik trade? Thanks, Harshal. I basically just covered all of it. I would not want to go into it a bit more than that. I'm worried I say something wrong, but it's exciting for Mumbai. He was a big player for Mumbai Indians for many, many years. He loves playing at the Wankhede Stadium. And he did his thing at the Gujarat Titans. It's maybe time for him to move on. One trophy that he lifted, made another one in the finals. So he's been great. And maybe he feels like his time there is done. And it's time to head back to the Mumbai Indians. I've got a funny feeling Rohit's going to let him captain, take the reins, because Rohit carries a lot of weight and a lot of pressure that he takes by captaining Team India as well. So maybe that's going to be the move. Let's see what happens. Then the Rajasthan Royals trade Devdutt Padikkal for the Super Giants Avish in straight swap. So interesting there. I played with Padikkal in the IPL before at RCB. He's a fantastic young player. I don't think we've seen the best of him yet. So a pretty good trade. And we know what Avish is capable of. He'll be good there as well. He's a very steady bowler. He knows his game very well. And it's a pretty stock standard trade. I think, obviously, Super Giants maybe needed an extra batter and vice versa. So just balancing out the squads, as I alluded to before, the team's really at a crunch time now where they want to balance out the squads. And talking about balancing squads, RCB, most probably letting go of Harshal Patel and Wanindu Hasaranga, two big players for them. They paid a lump sum to get the two of them in 2022 and 2023 auctions, respectively 10.75 crore for the two players. And maybe RCB just feeling like it's time to shift around a bit, and those two players will open up a big purse for them. And that's where the scouting comes in. The guys who've been scouting for RCB would possibly have a handful of players that they're looking at, and maybe even buying these two players, Harshal and Wanindu, back in the auction. Maybe RCB feels confident they can get them back on the auction. That can backfire as well, by the way. You might end up buying Harshal for a bit more. Anyway, long story short, Mr. Flower, who's come into the setup there, obviously have a few tricks up his sleeve and a few plans in place. And this was part of the plan, I think. Let's see how that plays out. Big move for RCB. Umar Gul, Pakistan cricket. Umar Gul and Saad Ajmal appointed as Pakistan's bowling coaches. I played against these guys on numerous occasions. Both very, very good competitors. In-your-face kind of bowler, Umar Gul and Saad Ajmal got a lot of skill. So it's great for Pakistan to pull back some of their former players, past players, really relying on that experience and the guys that have been there before. Let the younger guys learn from the guys who have gone through some success and failures throughout their careers. And there's no better place to learn than from old players. I can think back in the day with me, Gary Kirsten pulled me in when I was 19 years old. I wasn't even in the Protea setup yet. And he sent me a text message out of nowhere. I didn't even know him. And he just said, "My name is Gary Kirsten. I would love to help you with your batting." And that's where I learned the most, from little moments like that. Jacques Callis pulling me in and giving me all of his experience. So it's great for Pakistan to see they're pulling in some of the past players. And I think it's a great move. The more former players can stay involved with the game, the healthier and the better it is for cricket. So well done, Team Pakistan. Good move there, I believe. And then moving on to the next one, the ICC will introduce a stop clock to regulate the pace of play. This will happen in between overs. I think the rule states it at the bottom there. The clock will be used to regulate the amount of time taken between overs. So the ICC identifying an area where time's wasted, perhaps with the captains communicating with the bowlers at the top of the mark, taking too much time there. So more planning from the captains and the bowling team will have to be done before the games to make sure that the plans are in place and that you don't plan on the field too much. You can have the one or two instinctive calls, but not every over, and that's where a lot of time is lost. 5-run penalty will be imposed for the third time that it happens in an innings, that you go over 60 seconds before bowling that next ball. I'm not sure exactly if the bowler needs to be running in or if the ball must be delivered at that time. All these finer details will come out soon, but I think it's a good move. We all want the game to go a bit faster, and this was one way to implement that. And also on that, I did mention in the show in the week that I'm going to discuss a little bit more about the things that bothered me in this World Cup. I don't think there was enough of a hype. I feel the game is a bit slow, and this is just my personal opinion. Please don't quote me on this. Maybe you should. I don't know. But I see a great time for change in the near future, possibly turning the 50 overs to a 40 over match, just shortening the game a bit, maybe 2 T20 matches where you have a break after the first T20 match, the runs get carried over into the second T20 match, the teams getting the opportunity to possibly change their team. So you pick a 15-man squad, you throw an extra spinner in there for the second game, because you 30 runs behind, maybe you go a bit more aggressive with an extra batter. I think it could be a fantastic scenario. You could either have another toss for the second game, or you can just go whoever batted first must chase in the second game. There's a lot of excitement around that, I feel, and I feel the ICC needs to change something with the 50 over format. I feel the format is under big pressure, but we'll get to that once some things change in the future. ICC shifts the men's under-19 World Cup from Sri Lanka to South Africa. Yeah, we all know what's happening there with Sri Lanka cricket, and unfortunately for them, the under-19 World Cup will be moved to South Africa. Just on my previous point, I would like to hear your opinions on that. Ask me some questions. What do you think of 2 T20 games instead of a 50 over match? Just an idea, just a thought. I very briefly try to explain how I think it can work. I think that it could be a lot of excitement around that. So please post your questions down there in the descriptions box. Also, subscribe to the channel. You know the story. Hit the bell notification. And I've been having a lot of fun on here, and I hope you guys have had a lot of fun with me too. But let's keep the entertainment going. Ask me some questions. And that was briefly just the news section. Just to keep you guys up to date with what's happening in the cricketing world after everyone's hangover from the end of that World Cup. At least we have some cricket tomorrow, so I'll be looking forward to that. Team India taking on Australia. That first game, by the way, was in Vizag. It looked like a really good wicket. Whenever you get 200 in a T20 game and it gets chased down, it's generally a pretty good wicket. But that once again reiterates my point. It's entertaining. Everyone loves T20 cricket. And I think there's room for a double T20 game instead of 50 overs maybe. So you still have your 50 over format. You still have your World Cups, but you bring a bit of entertainment in and a bit of planning. I mean, imagine you can change the squad after the first T20 match. You're 30 runs behind. You throw in an extra batter or two, or you feel the wicket's going to start turning a bit more. You play an extra spinner for that second match, and you try and make up the deficit of 30 or 20, 30 runs. I think it could be very entertaining for the crowds. You've heard it first here on 360 Live. Let's hope it happens. Because I do feel the 50 over format needs something. Something was missing in that first half of the World Cup. Very low interest, very slow. A lot of people still at work. And I think you can squeeze in and maybe save a bit of time with the double T20 match, maybe a double 15 over match, whatever the case may be. Be a bit creative. I think it's time to be creative in the cricketing world. Sarvesh, thank you very much for the question. Surya Kumar Yadav in T20 internationals takes his game to the next level. Is that due to the attacking nature of this format, or is he unable to adapt to situations in ODIs? It's a good question, because I honestly do not know. I have no idea why he can't play all the formats. He should be a fantastic player in all three formats. His technique is pretty solid. There's no areas of weakness, I feel. He plays the short ball pretty well. He's good against spin. He's good against pace. He's got a good front foot game, good back foot game. It is very odd to me that he can't find a way to lay that foundation in the longer formats. I'm pretty sure he's done that domestically. That's why he's found himself in the ODI team for Team India. And I think he will still figure out his game there. It's a matter of just sort of crossing that line once or twice, getting a bit of confidence. We all know cricket and sport is a confidence game. Once you start believing in your own ability, believing that you can handle the ODI format, then all of a sudden a flick just goes on and you all of a sudden play a bit better cricket. So let's hope that happens for Sky. He's a fantastic T20 player. There's absolutely no reason why he shouldn't be as good or even better in ODIs and possibly even test matches. Thanks, Sarvesh. Moving on to the next question then. Keep posting your questions, guys. I don't have a lot of time. Just quickly, I have a farewell today of one of my best friends. He's moving to the Cape Province, a town called Stellenbosch. So I'm pretty sad today, as if the semi-final knockout clash for South Africa was not sad enough for me. On top of that, one of my best friends are moving out of Pretoria and he's leaving me all by myself. Anyway, I'm going to be spending a bit of time with him today. He's got a farewell at his home and I will be moving there in about 10 to 15 minutes. So keep asking your questions. I'm going to cover as many as I can. What are your views on Shubman Gill? I've said this before. I thought he was going to be the top scorer, a run scorer in this World Cup. Didn't have his best World Cup, but he's a one incredible player. And once again, I see him in all formats. I honestly see him playing in test matches, double T20s and T20s. I'll say ODIs. I'm very excited to watch this man progress and into one of the best players in the world. He's got all the talent, all the skill. He plays the big moments well as well. We saw them in the IPL. The bigger the moments, the bigger he became as a player. So very excited about him. I can't wait to watch him in this coming IPL. I will be following closely and we'll give you guys some updates on his batting. Thanks for that. Moving on then. My team over there in Mumbai. Keep me on my toes. So do you think that Rohit and Virat should play the ICC T20 World Cup in 2024? I would say absolutely yes. It's a good question because I know losing a 50-over World Cup this year was a big blow for both of them. Getting that opportunity and not crossing the line. I know the feeling, trust me. So I can relate to that. You take a big blow from a big knockout like that, where you can almost feel the trophy and all of a sudden you're not allowed to touch it. So when you get so close, it hits you really hard. It took me a few years to get over it, to be honest. I don't even know if I'm over it yet. I'm talking about the 2015 World Cup, losing out in that semi-finals. Very, very close. We had it slip through our fingers. And I think that's how Rohit and Virat will be feeling like. So I can't speak on behalf of them. I think it's only 1 year away. So I don't see a reason why they shouldn't be there. You need experience in World Cups. And I think you don't get any better experience than the two of them. Rohit batted very well in this World Cup up front. Getting India off to a good start more often than not. That's exactly what you want in T20 games. And Virat is the glue of that middle order. He can play any situation, whether it's T20 cricket, ODIs, or Test cricket, whether it's at the end of the innings, at the start, whether you're setting a total or chasing. He's the all-around perfect player. I think Team India will need him there. You will have to manage him really well. I think he's getting to a stage in his career where he needs to make smart moves. And I think he has been doing that over the last 12 to 18 months, really looking after himself, after his mental health, making sure he gets to his family. He gets a bit of time off. It takes a really strong board. And I think India cricket have got enough past players involved in a Royal Dravid. I think Ajit Agarkar is the convener of selectors now. Guys who've played the game before that understand what Virat is going through at this stage of his career. Also Rohit. They're not 25 anymore. So really important to manage them well. Make sure that they want to play in the 2024 World Cup, number one. And secondly, manage them well. Make sure they're fresh. They get to their families enough. When they come back into the team, they're energized and they're ready to roll. And they want to give their best for Team India. So that's going to be really important. And let's hope we see them there. Thanks, Jatin. Moving on to the next one then. Abraham. We have the same name. Abraham Matthew, thank you very much. Thanks for being a super fan. And thoughts on Marner's supporting act in the final? Oh, absolutely incredible. I always knew that was going to be their game plan. And David Warner in the live show, if you haven't seen the show this week, go check it out. He spoke about it briefly, saying that that's one of the big reasons why they chased, was they had Steve Smith and Marnus Labuschagne in the team. 2 test match specialists. And that's what you need in the World Cup final. And that's why they decided to chase in that game, or a big part of the reason, because they knew they can handle the pressure. They have really strong techniques. And Steve obviously didn't come off in that World Cup final, but Marnus was there. One of the two of them were always going to play that anchor role, and Marnus came off. Look, the conditions changed a lot. It got a bit easier in that second innings, but it still had to be done. And there was no one better than Marnus at that wicket, a former South African. He grew up in South Africa. And I think at the age of 11, around that, he moved to Australia. Big blow for South Africa. Now, I spent time with Marnus at the Brisbane Heat when I played in the Big Bash League. He's a fantastic guy, down to earth man. He loves cricket. He loves working hard, and he deserves all the accolades coming his way. And could not have decided to score runs on a better stage in the World Cup final. So very happy for Marnus, and congratulations to him and his team. Vivek. Hello, sir. As you said, Tiger Bartadel in India. Is the Tiger coming back as a player or as a coach? This is the question of million hearts. Vivek, thanks for the question. And apologies for giving you a bit of hope, but I'm not coming back yet. I was set up by some of my friends over there in Mumbai. The long and the short is I would love to return. I'm definitely going to be returning to India for the IPL. I've got a bit of work to do there with Viacom. On Geo Cinema, and you guys must have a look at our stream, please. Instead of watching on television, you can just watch on your mobile when you're on the road or at work. And I will be part of the commentary team there for the Geo Cinema team, and I'm very much looking forward to that with Scott Styrus, Chris Gale, Owen Morgan, Brett Lee, Danish Karthik, so many guys there. Robin Utapa. Sorry, I don't think Danish Karthik is there. I'm not sure, but maybe we should get him across. And there were some thoughts of possibly me joining the Canada team. So let's see if I can throw out a few words. I might jump into the commentary box there and try and talk with my friends from Bangalore. But no, I'm not returning in any professional capacity yet. If I'm asked to spend a bit of time with the batters, if I get a call from Virat or from Andy Flower or Faf or anyone there, I would love to fly over for a day or two and spend some time with my friends at RCB. But other than that, nothing from a professional point of view yet, maybe in the near future. I still feel fit, so who knows? The bat is there in the background. I might just pull it out and see if I can still hit a ball. Keep sending in your questions, guys. We've got another 10 minutes to go maximum, and I have to be off to my good friend, who, by the way, owns a business called, and this is not me trying to promote his brand, but Freedom of Movement is his business. I mean, his brothers. It's a family business. Go check it out online, Freedom of Movement, FOM. They do clothing, shoes, leather bags, the most incredible products. I'm a big supporter. I go in there quite often and buy a few items. I am actually wearing a few. It's not this shirt at the moment, but I absolutely love the products. And that's the guy I'm going to for that's the guy for his farewell, and that I'm joining today for a braai is what we call it over here. It's when you barbecue or you put some meat on the fire and you and you braai it. Anil Kumar, sir, do you want Devil Brevis to play for RCB? I would love that. I think the Chinnaswamy's pitch will suit him to the T. I don't know if Mumbai Indians will release him, because I know they invested in a lot of young players a few years back, thinking long term. So it would not make sense at all thinking long term with a bag of young players and trying to get them there, and almost when they're ready to release them. It would not make sense. I would love to see Brevis there, but I don't think Mumbai Indians will be releasing any of the young players, because that was part of their dream team in a few years' time. Should KKR persist with Andre Russell and Sunil Narayan, or should they now look behind them? Good question. I think both these players still have a lot of value to add in the IPL. I do agree. Well, you didn't make a statement, you asked a question, but if you made that statement, I would agree with that. Release them and get some money in the bag. It has not been working in the last few years, but these players are very valuable players. They can still play the game, and they'll be valuable in other teams. And just to get a bit of a fresh feel at KKR, I think it'll be a very, very good move. And I think it is time for change over there. It's the opposite to the Mumbai Indians, where they've invested in a lot of young players, not doing well, but they know that these young players are going to get experience and ultimately they will shine. This is the opposite, persisting with older players. The trend has been going this way, even though they're very valuable players. Get some fresh energy in there and try and turn that around. Let these players go add value at other teams, because they are both very valuable and great T20 players. All right, thanks for that, Creator Sunny. What's your take on Will Jacks and Mitchell Starc coming to the IPL? Please bring Faf on your show. We want to see both of you together. I would love to bring Faf on. maybe during the IPL, or maybe even after the auction, we'll try and get him on the call and see what he feels how he feels about his RCB team. So I'll wait for that auction perhaps and see how many changes they have in Team RCB and ask him about that. Will Jackson, Mitchell Stark, that's a fantastic addition to the IPL. I played with Starkey at RCB a while back. He got injured, unfortunately. So I don't think he's had a really nice run in the IPL yet. Maybe this will be his time to shine, getting towards the back end of his career. And I think he's got a lot of value to add. Will Jacks had a fantastic season in the SA20. And by the way, the SA20 will be coming up in January and February. I'll also be doing work there. You'll see me around, so please keep an eye out for that. It will also be streaming over there in India, once again through Viacom, the Viacom channel. So keep an eye out for that. Will Jacks was one of the hot stars in the SA20. He's a fantastic player. He won a lot of games for the Pretoria Capitals. So I've got a funny, sneaky feeling that the Delhi Capitals will be eyeing him out when he gets into that auction, and he might go for a handsome price. We'll see what happens. Thanks, Creator Sunny. Appreciate that. Okay, guys, last few questions. Give me a couple of topics. I need a bit of controversy. Prakruti Srinivas ABD, do you think Rachin Ravindra will be part of RCB? Was one of the hot stars of the World Cup, top 5 batters. He scored a lot of runs for Team New Zealand. And it's just a fantastic story how this guy came out of nowhere. He watched one of those World Cups many years back from India. And before he knew it, he was playing in the World Cup in India for Team New Zealand. So incredible turnaround there. And now he managed to find a way to shine. And he certainly did shine in that World Cup. I don't know. I'm pretty sure RCB will be interested. I have no idea where he will end up. I haven't spoken to any of the team owners, the team selectors, the captains, the coaches. I have no idea what they're planning, but I'm looking forward to doing that show. We're going to be covering the auction on Viacom, on GeoCinema, and I'm pretty sure we'll see Ravindra's name there, Rachin Ravindra, and hopefully he'll end up in RCB. He's a very good left-hand batter. He also can offer you a few overs with the ball in hand. Just an outright fantastic cricket player. Reminds me a bit of Jadeja, but obviously Jadu doesn't bat up the order, but I'm pretty sure Jadu could bat up the order if he wanted to. But this guy will be up the order in the top 3 at least, I would say. And let's hope Team RCB makes a good move there. All right, last question for today. I've had a lot of fun with you guys. Keep posting questions, and I still wanted to find out about what you think of a double T20 game instead of a 50-over game where you have a pause in the middle. The runs, when you lose that first T20 game by 20 runs, not lose it, you're trailing by 20, you have a reset, you get the coaches to change the teams, you play another game, and they try and make up those 20 runs. So I would like to hear what you guys think about that. Anyway, who do you think the next big players in cricket will be? Any new names from SA except for Brevis and Stubbs? And I've got my son here now. He doesn't know that I'm doing a live session, but he's standing right next to me and looking very confused. What is my dad doing? He's 6 years old, little John. And he just came in, and I didn't want to interrupt the show, but I just had to because I completely lost my words. But new names in cricket, South Africa. I think there are quite a few coming through. We saw Gerald Coetzee in that World Cup performing really well. It's a fantastic bowler. Keep an eye out for the SA20. That's where you see our new names. There are quite a few youngsters that are very handy players, and that's where the tournament's fantastic. And you've seen Team India reaping the rewards from the IPL over the years. The SA20 is still fresh and new, and already we're seeing some new names emerging in the cricketing world, playing, giving these youngsters from South Africa a platform to be seen, to be exposed to cricket around the world. And we'll see more and more South African, young South African players playing in England, in Australia, in the IPLs, in some of the T20 tournaments around the world. And it's just fantastic that we have this SA20 tournament, giving our players the exposure they deserve and they need. So great for Cricket South Africa, and I'm looking forward to the future. Get out of here. There he is. He's making an appearance. Where is he now? It's behind my chair. But yeah, so it's a special edition of the 360 show, my son making an appearance. But yes, that brings us to an end of the 360 Live. Thank you very much, everyone, for sharing your thoughts. I still haven't had a question about the double T20 game instead of 50 overs. We'll cover it in the show in the week, or maybe in the 360 Live next week. Thank you very much for joining me. Have a fantastic weekend. As you know, I'm sad. I'm going to farewell to say goodbye to one of my best friends. Subscribe to the channel. Once again, you see at the bottom there, hit the bell notification, and also follow me on socials. And you'll stay up to date in that way on Facebook, Instagram, and also X. Thank you very much for joining me, and have a fantastic weekend. Enjoy that game between India and Australia tomorrow. Have a fantastic weekend. Cheers, guys.